Welcome to Footy with Podcast, episode 14. Happy Easter. My name is Ahis Anthony, and we're here again. We're back again to discuss latest updates in football, coronavirus pandemic, and a bit of banter added to it. I'm not the only one here on the podcast today. I got my other guys, so I'll just pass it on to them and let them introduce themselves, and we take it up from there.
Hello, Footy with Podcast listeners. This is Chibuzo. We are back and live.
Yeah, we're back again. And guess who we have on the block today? The Runaway Soldier. Featuring today, or are we going to say is his debut? Or we just resigned him? Udoka is on the block. So Udoka, you have to introduce yourself to the listeners.
He's back from loan.
From loan, yes.
Okay, I'm back from loan like Jack Lucia. Well, yeah, I'm here to share my analysis on everything happening in the world of sports. This is Udoka.
We'll share. Hey, now
wow. So apparently, I queued in. I said I'm going to play this song for him while it's back on the podcast. So it will just have to. I just have to play it. So it's like a welcome back song for Udoka. Yeah, man, so it's good to have you back, UD. Back to have you on the podcast. So, but today, Samiat, she's a bit under the weather, so she won't be able to join us today on the podcast. Tunde from United States of America, Atlanta, Georgia, rather, we're representing Footy with Podcast in US of A. He might be joining us. In the course of the podcast, but we just leave the window open for him. So straight away we go into the podcast. We talked about Liverpool. We slagged Liverpool last week podcast because why they had to follow and make some of their non-playing staff to take pay cut. But on Monday, it seems they heard us. It seems they heard the way we slagged them, and they had to reverse the decision. But like they say, football is a very funny game. 1 minute you hear this, another minute anything can happen. But it's a good news. Good news that they had to let go. They had to reverse that decision because Liverpool, like we know, they're a very big club, one of the big clubs in England. And in terms of their financials, they have what it takes to even stand the test of time while the game or the league is on suspension due to the coronavirus pandemic. I almost hit the tongue there. Damn. So, so I don't know. I would like to get your take on what just a few minutes. You guys shed lights on it. Teams following, making their non-playing staff to take pay cuts. Chibuzo, you mentioned it in our previous podcast when we're talking about the coronavirus pandemic, and you cited the fact that even companies, football clubs, players might start to take pay cuts. It might start to affect their salaries, and voila, it happened. So was it that you had a crystal ball that you were looking at then, like 3 weeks ago, like 3-4 weeks ago when we had the podcast, and you talked about it and it happened? So what's your take on the following?
It's not like I don't need to have a crystal ball. It's normal. Like, clubs have financial projections, and they have investors, and they have sponsors, and those sponsors are expecting an ROI. Investors are expecting an ROI, and then the way these things are. They are calculated per time. We're not meeting the target today or tomorrow or this week or next month, having MPRs and all that. So if nothing is happening, no gate revenue or stadium revenue, no matches are not being played. So that means that there's nothing from TV. Because yes, you can't get that amount of money that you get at the end of the year. Because it's done per match, it's calculated per match, the matches that are. So all the maths, all finances, everything will be affected. So I just, it was just normal that footballers or football clubs will start to make players and staff take pay cuts. It already started in other industries like tech industries, industries that get their money per day or per weekend or per sale, and then are affected by people staying indoors. So it was something that was bound to happen. It was just supposed to happen, going to happen, because there's no way they can keep paying the players. You're not playing now, you're being paid per week. And if you're not playing per week, then how are we going to pay you? You understand? So
yeah, true though. So Udoka, what you take? Because I know as a sport journalist, you guys would have mumbled this thing over and over again. But you can just shed light on it here on the Footy With podcast. So seems Udoka connection. Meanwhile, we are, okay, is Udoka there? So due to the coronavirus pandemic, we're obeying all rules and obligations.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so yes, we can hear you. Was just cueing you in, talking about what's your take on the clubs following and players, non-playing staff taking pay cuts.
Yeah, I spoke with this. Now, we're not even sure when this whole virus pandemic will stop. We don't know when it will end. So if the clubs continue paying these players, and remember they earn weekly. Say, for example, some players, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Say, for example, some players earn £300,000, some earn £400,000. 400,000 equivalent to Naira is about 180 million Naira. So imagine paying 180 million Naira to one player every account. They have the number of non-playing staff that they have. So if they continue paying these monies week in, week out, no matter how big that club is, that club would run down. So it's only decent, it's only sensitive for the players to accept a pay cut, to say, okay, you guys, forget about the money, whatever money you have, send it to charity, let's fight this whole corona pandemic. Then when we come back, we can now resolve how we're going to sort ourselves out, talking about their wages. It doesn't just affect the club, it affects the Premier League as a whole. Like Chibo's rightly mentioned, TV rights. They will be slammed about £1 billion if the Premier League doesn't end when it's supposed to end.
Yeah.
So there's more crisis we're looking forward to. There's still going to be more crisis to happen. So I'll just advise all the clubs should accept this following of staffs and accepting pay cuts as well until we're sure that the virus is no longer in the system.
Yes, so we understand the fact that clubs should follow, like tell their non-playing staff to take pay cuts, understandably. But what we looked at on the podcast last week was, we understand Newcastle taking that route, we understand Bournemouth taking that route, and all the other smaller teams, with all due respect to them, we understand. But the bone of contention, or what we really talked about last week, was Liverpool, Tottenham, following that stead, joining that route. We looked at the money Liverpool made. Champions League football last year, they won the Champions League. Now, with other monies they made last year, Liverpool is a big club. Carragher too was pissed. Come on, he was really pissed about it. Why would Liverpool join the list of clubs following non-playing staff? No, it shouldn't be. Liverpool is a big club. Liverpool can stand. Liverpool has the money. They have the big amount of money to teams like Manchester United. They've not followed. Arsenal, they've not followed. Manchester City, they came out and said we're not following any players. So Liverpool joining that list of teams having to follow non-playing staff was what we discussed, and we made a point known that Liverpool shouldn't do that. With all due respect to the smaller teams, we understand when they do that. Burnley and Co. Yes, we know gate fees every monies they made from tickets to go into the stadium is part of what feeds or is part of what they use in making revenue, generating revenue, but not Liverpool. We know the bigger teams will be affected. We talked about it in our previous podcast. Manchester United might tend to lose close to 10% of the revenue if games are to be played behind closed doors. Yes, it's going to affect the bigger teams, but it shouldn't be to an extent where they'll have to tell non-playing staff to take a pay cut. I stand in my opinion. Is there any other thing you guys want to say?
No, nothing more.
Yeah, so and another thing we cited was the example we cited, because if the Premier League are saying that players should take 30% pay cuts, a player like Sanchez, who is earning close to £400,000 per week, comparing, that was what Sunday cited in the podcast last week, comparing that player to a player like Greenwood, or a player like Saka in Arsenal that earns £30,000 or £40,000 per week. Imagine you cutting 30% of his wages. How much will be left? So there will be no balance. There will be no balance. I think that was
From what I understand, there's going to be a percentage that they will be cutting from the salaries. Those ones earning mega bucks, they have a percentage for them. Then those ones earning lower, the likes of Saka. I don't know why you had to put Saka Arsenal. Arsenal had to just be in the mix. Wow.
Arsenal is always in the mix.
The likes of Saka, what's his name at Norwich, Pookie and the likes. So they would have I think they will have a different percentage that will be removed from their wages. You know, you talked about Liverpool. I'm sorry to go back to the whole Liverpool thing. You talked about Liverpool being a big club. Yes, we know they're a big club. They won the Champions League. Question is Liverpool bigger than Barcelona? Are they bigger than Real Madrid or Paris Saint-Germain? Even if Liverpool win the Champions League back to back, they can't have as much revenue as Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Paris Saint-Germain. And Barcelona have agreed to have a pay cut and also follow some staff because, like I said earlier, we don't even know what will happen in the future. So let's take care of now and be sure that when football resumes, we are going to be fine. If this doesn't happen now, there are lots of clubs. You must know there are lots of clubs that will go into administration if they don't handle this thing properly. A lot of clubs will go into administration. A lot of clubs will lose key players because of this pandemic. So we need to stop it now. But it needs to happen now.
Yeah, so Achubuzo, you have something to say?
No.
Yeah, because I just need you guys, I just want us to balance things here. So I would still be on this issue of following and pay cuts, because what really caused the argument or the back and forth with the decision slagging 30% pay cuts on Premier League players in the EPL was because the way the UK government works, I don't want to go into politics now, but you know, certain percentage, the money is being made by these players. When they pay tax, part of the tax is what is being used to run the NHS. The NHS now, which is like the front army fighting the coronavirus pandemic. So now you're saying players should take pay cuts. Automatically, so what the players were trying to say, the league management association was trying to tell the Premier League was, if these guys take this pay cut, fine, we're not saying they won't take the pay cut. But look at things, trying to balance things. If they take this pay cut, it will affect the NHS guys, because it is from this money these guys receive, they pay their tax with. So if you're saying take pay cuts, definitely someone earning £100,000 per week, so let's say for instance, pay a certain percentage of his money as tax, and it is that money he's using to fund NHS. Now you're saying take a pay cut. The pay cut automatically will definitely affect whatever tax revenue goes to government. So that was why they were saying, no, that might not fly, or that will not fly, because it would definitely affect the NHS, which is the National Health Service of UK. So do you understand where the balancing comes in now? So, and I think that was what led to Premier League footballers during the week having to launch a fund for the NHS charities called #Players Together to aid the fight against coronavirus. Yeah, captains, they came together. But still, it is all players. It is all the Premier League footballers that would have. Yeah, the captains came up with the initiative. I think this guy started the whole thing. The Liverpool captain, Jordan Henderson. So he was able to sell the idea to the other captains of Premier League clubs, and they were able to come up with that fund called NHS Charities, called #Players Together, which I feel makes sense. Rather than just slamming a certain percentage on all players, which at the end will not go well.
Well, let's see how things turn out. The major thing is life is more important than whatever money these guys are making. God forbid they contract the virus. How much would they take them?
Their money go finish there now.
You understand? So let's tackle basic first. Let's make sure that this virus is out of the system, is out of the way. Then we can talk about player wages. I think players should also be sensitive to the fact that, in as much as the virus is up on us, the clubs are doing their best, and they are doing it in the best interest of the players. Not like they are cheating anybody. It's just because nobody wants to go into administration. If the players collect as much money as they want to collect and the clubs go into administration, where would they be playing? Would they come to the Nigeria Professional Football League to play football?
Players would definitely bounce. They'll have a club.
Who rejects them.
See, footballers
play under sun and drinking pure water.
Oh.
No team wants to go into administration, definitely, but players will always find their way out. Like the news that came up during the week, we're going to bring Arsenal in. I don't know if that news is real, where the owner is saying for them to avoid taking pay cuts, they would have to qualify for Champions League. Just come. So and I'm like, really, for reals? So just let us know we're taking the pay cut rather than telling us for us not to take pay cuts.
Which kind of condition be that one? Now wow, that man no get joy.
So for you to see how it is, for me, it's not being fair on the players, really. It is not. Yes, we understand we're trying to fight this pandemic, but the way you're treating footballers, are you treating politicians that way? Are you treating billionaires that way? So society billionaires in the UK, are you treating them that way?
Nice points. You
are right. Get? So why do you? And that was what really made when Rooney, ranted. He was ranting last week because he wasn't happy as well. Because you push the footballers, you make them the scapegoat, and it looks as if they are the one making a hell of a money. Meanwhile, there are other guys there making the money, making billions, and you guys aren't saying anything. And for me, I feel the initiative #Players Together. I feel it makes sense. Everybody bring what you have. Let's put it together into a pot to help NHS fight this. For me, it still meets the purpose of the whole fighting the pandemic.
Everybody will be all right. As much as we talk about this, have we bothered about the Nigeria Professional Football League? Have they ever? Because I heard someone talk about pay cut, and was like, "Hey, what? The players that don't even have a cut in whatever it is. Are they even being paid?
They've not been
have a pay cut.
They're still owing them like 3 months' salary from no
mistake. You get what are we cutting? What pay are we cutting?
There's nothing to cut.
So it's really crazy. When I think about this, I just laugh.
See, Nigerian football administration is another kettle of fish because Premier League, the English Premier League, Spanish League, Italian League, governments don't own clubs.
Yeah.
So if the way we run our football in Nigeria, where state government is the one that run clubs, do you know how many thing state government is trying to fight. Oh, state governments that are that they've not even come up with palliatives for the citizen, that are telling them to sit down at home. Would they be the one to remember a football team that they are running to pay their salary? Hell no. Oh, scratch that. Sorry. No.
Right though, sir.
Hell no.
So let's just don't even see. We want to make ourselves happy on the podcast today, so let's don't talk about Nigerian football, please.
Okay. Because if you go there, I think we'll end up being depressed.
Good, you don't come back.
Seriously, man. Yeah. We will just be depressed.
With that triangle.
Really, man. So what do you guys think? Should the league be called null and void, or we should wait for a date?
That's the
fear. It seems Liverpool is jinxed. Sorry, Doko. Taking you back. Okay. Taking you back to the very first time we started the podcast, like 13 weeks ago. Remember when you were all crazy about Liverpool's going to win the league? Now it's looking as if they won't win the league. Just needed to point that out. I needed to take that. Let me take it off my chest. So I had to just take it off my chest. Because it seems Liverpool might not win this league.
Is that your wish? Or
wow.
Is that your wish? Because if you're there dreaming Liverpool will not win the league, have you thought about what club do you support?
So, you see, take it easy. We're not going into club.
No.
I said they might. Excuse me. I said they might not win the league. Might. So there's every tendency they could win it. But let's just focus on what we're discussing. We'll still get to that part. So you want to banter, you want to slap, we'll get there, no problem. So what I'm saying is, what's the foreseeable strategy for the English Premier League with the whole
14 clubs agree for the league to null and void? Yeah?
Yeah, right on.
Okay, so if 14 clubs agree for the league to be null and void, it's over for Liverpool. You get. But I also blame Liverpool. If they had defeated Watford and probably defeated Manchester United, I think the easiest decision would have been to award them the league, because there was no way Manchester City would topple them on the table. But the way it is now, if the FA says, okay, let's hand Liverpool the league, it will cause a crisis in England. You know why?
Why?
Because Manchester City would bring out their Nigerian mentality and say, why did you guys have to cancel the league? We had a chance to catch up with Liverpool.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Mathematically,
they can still catch up with Liverpool. Then they want the relegation zone. What happens to them? No, we're supposed to fight for relegation. We have a chance. If you look at the table, we know that we can actually battle it out and be safe from relegation. So
Arsenal can still make the Champions League spot.
No. Arsenal cannot make the Champions League.
I just needed to throw that in because they can still make the Champions League spot.
No.
5 points different from fourth position. Whoever is in fifth position. Nah. Jeez. No, you can make a point. Hey, take it easy. Just continue. Make your point.
Christ. Jesus Christ. Okay. So, if you ask me, if I was the FA, I would say, whatever happens, we have a debt of 1 billion to pay if the league doesn't end at a particular time. So, get these clubs together, make an arrangement for play. Let's make it look like a playoff format. If you're in the relegation zone, this is the amount of matches you play to survive or to drop. Then the ones in the top 4, this is how many matches you need to play to see who wins the league. They're the ones wanting to qualify for Champions League and the likes. They have a way to sort themselves out. But this league has to finish. It has to finish.
Yeah, because it's a whole. Like I said, the guys administering or handling the Premier League, they have their work cut out, because it is going to be a tough decision. Really, it's going to be tough for whatever decision they want to make. With the whole coronavirus pandemic, it doesn't seem like it is regressing. You can not just start playing football, and because this thing is so devastating, it will change the face at which the league is being run. Because even if you want to resume, you might want to play behind closed doors. So one way or the other, players will come back, they will get injured. I heard them saying they want like 2 weeks pre-season before they can start. What is the time? So it's, for me, I just feel Liverpool is jinxed. I feel they're jinxed. Seriously, I feel they're jinxed after 30 years, getting close to winning the league, and this whole thing happens. Because imagine if the league had been on, they would have been crowned champions. So it's so poor. It's so poor. Chibuzo left. I don't know. He seems not to be available, so it's just the both of us that is left. So we just have to continue until he joins back. Yeah. So to all our listeners, we're obeying the WHO rules. We're all in our house running this podcast because we can't mix. Social distancing has to be obeyed. So interesting news came up. Aubameyang has been advised to leave Arsenal for a more ambitious club.
By who? The Gabon Football Federation president. Who is he? Is he his father? Is he his agent? How much to calm down? Shouldn't let us travel to Gabon and Gabonize his head.
But don't you think what they're saying makes sense? Because why is it that every 2 years or every year Arsenal tend to find themselves in this kind of position? Their stars.
Why did he not score that goal against Olympiacos to ensure we qualify for the next stage of the tournament?
See, it happens. It
doesn't happen. I won't forgive him. Till tomorrow, Henry will surely regret not scoring that goal against Barcelona.
It happens. In the second round of the Champions League, Arsenal, AC Milan, that goal Van Persie should have scored for Arsenal to have won that tie. He failed to score. The following season or 2 seasons after, he went to Manchester United. So it happens. But the question is, for me, critically, let's look at this critically. With benefit of hindsight, it has always happened. It happened with Henry. It happened with Fabregas. It happened with Van Persie. It happened with, who again? Sanchez. Why does Arsenal always leave it late? Why do they have to always do this? Why don't they do the right thing? We have other clubs there that are not winning titles year in, year out. We know. But they have this thing of being able to tie their players with contracts. Yeah. Even before you leave, you would have, even if anybody wants to buy, you have to make it difficult for that team coming to buy that player. But for Arsenal, it's recurrent. It keeps happening. And really, I see Aubameyang leaving.
Definitely. But my pain would be if he goes to a rival club, and I'm hearing Manchester United want to get him.
Well, Manchester United, they keep trying. They just want to buy all the strikers. They're not done with the Gallo. They should sort the Gallo out.
The Gallo is not. I don't think he's staying. I think he would accept that £400,000 per week.
As a proper Nigerian man, he would definitely. So there's another rumor saying, I think Manchester United, they just want to buy all the strikers. They are looking at getting Kane as well. And Tottenham Hotspur, they are willing to let him go for £200 million. Wow, that's a lot of cash. That's a lot of cash.
It is well.
So we just okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because do you see Kane joining Manchester United?
I don't think so. If he wants to leave Tottenham Hotspur because he wants to win titles, Manchester United is not the club to go to. For now, I think. For now, Manchester United is not the club to go to. There are other clubs that he can actually go to and he's guaranteed of one title at least. The likes of Manchester City, Liverpool, then outside England, Real Madrid.
I feel Guardiola has it needs a spark again for that Manchester City team to thrive, because at the end of the season, David Silva is leaving. That's another core.
Yeah.
Because this guy left, what's his name? The former captain, Vincent Kompany. We saw the big gap he left. Now another David Silva is leaving again. So I think Manchester City, they would have to rebuild. My personal opinion, they might have to rebuild. And before they can get to that part. So just because we'll soon be rounding up, there's nothing really to discuss, because we just have the both of us left on the podcast. So there's something we came up with. We do on this day on the podcast. Okay. Apparently Samuel comes up with the on this day for us. So 2 weeks ago, she remembered it was apparently 2 podcasts. The last 2 episodes we had, the on this day fell on when Arsenal got trashed on Arsene Wenger's 1000th game, 6-0 by Chelsea. So I don't know why she always keep slagging Arsenal on this day, on this podcast. I don't understand. So the on this day she sent to us, since she's not on the podcast, was she sent it happened on this day 1913. Woolwich, which was what Arsenal was formerly called, Woolwich Arsenal, were relegated on this day, April 12, 1913.
Wow. It's really sad being an Arsenal fan. It's a big shout out to all the Arsenal fans. You guys should endure. And the Lord is good. Why does everything bad happen to Arsenal?
Well, I don't know, man. I'm so sure there are other on this day story, but Samuel, being Samuel, just needed to pull that Arsenal on this day out, because for the record, she's a Manchester United fan, and she has said it.
I look forward to having her.
She has said it on this podcast of how she hates Arsenal. And
wow.
Every opportunity, she takes a dig at Arsenal on the Footy Week podcast.
Okay.
And I keep telling her there will be a day when Arsenal fans will come for her on this podcast, and she better be ready. So this was what we did last week. Moving on, this is what we did last week. Everybody, okay, Chubzo is back. But it's just that we might not have to, so that we don't waste time.
Yeah.
So this is what we did last week. We looked at our best. We looked at our best 11. We predicted the best 11 in the EPL, the Premier League, thus far from the beginning of the season up until when the season was suspended due to the pandemic. So, if you are to pick your best 11, what would your best 11 be?
My best 11 in the EPL?
Yes.
Starting from goalkeepers.
Starting from the goal. You tell us your formation that you'd like to use. The formation. Okay, Chubzo is back. Impromptu what?
Best 11 for we EPL.
No, not best 11. Like your best 11 so far, from when the season started up until.
It could be from any league, yeah.
No. We're looking at the EPL guy. Come on.
Liverpool festival.
How I wish Tunde was available. Tunde hates Liverpool. I don't know why. Tunde would have lambasted you right now for you to have mentioned it is Liverpool. Saying what? You can't tell me in the whole EPL there are no other players you can put in certain positions. Come on, like Fabinho, I would never put that guy in my team for once. Come on. Damn.
Well, me looking at the best 11 so
far.
far.
You give us yours too, so we just.
I'll take the what's that called now? The 3-5-2 formation.
Okay, 3-5-2 formation. Starting with the goalkeeper. What will be your goalkeeper be? Okay, let me just. Okay, before you guys start, let me just tell you mine. Apparently, Samuel and Tunde would have told you guys there's easy wrong, but let me just tell you mine. I went for Ben Leno, and I was asked why Ben Leno. Hold on. Don't attack me. Samuel and Tunde, they asked me why Ben Leno, and I gave my reason. The reason we all know from the beginning of the season, Arsenal had a shitty defense prior to when Arteta came in. While Arteta came in, he tried to balance everything with all the shitty players he has, but we saw a bit of improvement. Arsenal stopped conceding a lot of goals and shot at goals. While Emery was there, we saw Arsenal playing Southampton. You see Southampton will have like 30 shots on target, and Ben Leno will save like 20 something out of it. So Ben Leno have been exposed to hell and he was able to stand through. This season thus far, the only two outstanding players in Arsenal is Ben Leno and Aubameyang. Because Ben Leno has kept the goal well from Arsenal conceding, and Aubameyang had helped scoring. So I picked Ben Leno as my goalkeeper. If you like, go and hold transformer, that's your problem. So I'm going with the 4-3-3 formation. My right back, Alexander-Arnold, we all know. My 5 would be Soyuncu of Leicester City. My 6... Soyuncu, yeah, sorry. 6 is... what's his name?
I thought you said
Soyuncu. My 6 is Van Dijk. 3 is Robertson. In my midfield, I'll go with Wijnaldum as a defensive midfielder. Playing ahead, I'll go with... I went with Maddison and Firmino to play in the attacking midfield. Maddison, Firmino. On the left, Mane. On the right, I went with Salah. Then at the top, Aubameyang. That's my formation. So just to help you guys out. So you can let's roll with yours, Yudi.
This thing is impromptu now. Which kind of life?
Man, I'll have to drop my list.
I'll have to do it next episode.
Well, off the top of my head, if I'm just going to mention randomly.
Just randomly, UD,
the Liverpool team.
For my random selection, I'll take what's his name now? Bernardo Silva.
Okay.
What? Ederson, sorry. Bernardo Silva, goalkeeper. What's up? They go to beat us. So I'll take Ederson.
Ederson has been shitty this season too.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. But Ederson has been shitty this season.
Yeah, it's my team.
Okay, sorry.
It's my team. I'll take Ederson as the goalkeeper. Then my 3 defenders will be Van Dijk. There would be what's this guy's name now?
Gomez. Is it Liverpool?
No, for Manchester City. I'd also take
Laporte or what?
Laporte, yeah.
Laporte has been injured. Okay, it's your team. Sorry.
My best team. Your team lost.
Sorry.
I'll take Van Dijk, Laporte, and Trent.
Okay.
Trent. For my midfield, 5 midfielders. They are dead. I'll pick Pepe, Mesut Ozil.
Chibuzo, can you hear that?
Give us time. You can't just ambush us and tell us that I should give you. I think Liverpool is my team.
Don't worry. My team is so messed up.
You have to follow ballet and arrange this thing.
Pepe, Ozil.
Don't worry. I'll reload that. I just realized I'm messing up, man. The gods will be very angry.
Yeah, so okay, the other thing we looked at, best football moments for the team you support. I think it was Samuel that asked that question. Best
Have any comments?
the best football moment. Okay, so we just do a wrap on the podcast. Like, I don't know. What we're just trying to do is just to make the podcast, fun filled. Because really, there is no football action to talk about, and we'll see how we can make it all fun. There's what Sam started last week. I don't have all those stats. There's this thing she just looked at what's trending. She brings it on the podcast, which I think made the previous podcast fun as well. So we can also look at that next week. Definitely there will be updates that we'll talk about. Updates in the football world. Hopefully no players get infected of the coronavirus. And we hope. So we just round up with our pattern shots, and we just round off the podcast. So Chibuzo, you can help us start.
What do I have to say? I'm just hoping. Someone said that even if they so I just saw a post today. The guy said that please, I can watch 5-a-side. I don't mind watching 5-a-side. Man, this period is so boring. Like no football, nothing. Man, who would have thought?
Belarus league is on. Belarus, the league is on.
Where are they showing it on DSTV? I'll be on FM radio. Well, so just hoping that everything ends in good time. I just really don't know what to say because this period is too boring. Like staying in the house, no premiership. How many movies do you want to watch?
Nothing.
You understand? How many movies? But matches, you jump from this league to this league, you watch. So I'm missing all football action worldwide. I'm hearing that the UFC is trying to purchase an island where they can be televising fights from. Those guys are not slack.
They shut them down.
Oh, they shut them down?
Yep.
Oh, so they can't do that?
Yeah, they've shut down the UFC.
Wow. But I saw a post from Dana White. He was saying he wants to buy an island.
Yeah, that was before the shutdown.
Oh, okay. So for me, I'm just saying that I hope everything ends well. No player gets infected. No player dies. Even as far as club owners, club staff, teaching staff, medical staff, physios, analysts, commentators, pundits, fans. Please, nobody should we just need to just come back and say we overcame, and then it becomes a story that will be told in the next 100 years. That just like the way the 1918 pandemic is also being discussed. We'll have our own stories. All players that are sick, are down with COVID-19, we wish them speedy recovery. I heard that Boris Johnson is out of the hospital. So I'm just well wishing, communicating how bored I am, yearning for the return of football action. That's just all I have to say.
Very so. We hope so. Udoka, your passing shots for today's podcast.
There's nothing happening in the world of sports than coronavirus. And like the WHO has warned us, you can listen. You hear my tap running. I'm washing my hands.
Yeah.
And I'm staying safe. So, passing shots from me to you. Wash your hands. Stay safe. If you are coughing, cough with the Pogba dab. If you're sneezing, stay the hell away from people and sneeze. Stay at home. Don't go out. Stay safe. Keep sanitizing your hands.
And very soon, this virus will be done and dusted, and we can get our football up and running again. Peace out.
Yeah. So before I give my parting shot, I just have one question. Please, where is Deontay Wilder?
Don't say word, I'm chilling. Can you imagine? Now my brother.
Where is Deontay Wilder? He's on his isolation. He's at home now. Is he bigger than sitting at home?
I've beaten. Jeez. Ever since that beating, no heard about him anymore.
I've recovered now. Now normal thing now.
I saw the highlights during the week. We Wilder pummeled him. Jeez, crazy man. And ever since then, he has not spoken to his fans. He's not talked. He's not said anything.
That's not Wilder or Fury.
Talking about Wilder.
When
Fury gave Wilder a beating now.
Yeah, I said Fury pummeled Wilder.
Okay.
When Fury pummeled Wilder.
Okay.
Anyways, we hope to have footy boxing. We'll talk about boxing. But it's all good, everybody stay safe. It's quite important. At this time, coronavirus will not see the end of us. We'll see the end of coronavirus. And as Chibuzo mentioned, many years to come, we'll talk about it and how we overcame. So please, once again, stay safe, stay hygienic, wash your hands. Peace out from here in Footy Week Podcast. We'll be here next week again to talk about football, latest updates as well. So,
sir,
peace out.
Peace out.